It says I'm live. Victory is mine! Hello everyone, welcome to another political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Oh, my head just went vacant. How strange. Joining me, I was going to say something, as a joke there. I lost it. That's clever. I should write these down before I start. That would help. What was that noise?
That was me laughing and coughing and dying. Oh my god.
If you couldn't
You
tell
said
me
your
that.
head was empty, and I was just like...
Yeah, it's not a great start. It's not great. Joining me,
that's
as you
hilarious.
can tell, if you haven't heard already, it's Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
We're off to a banging start.
That gave me such joy. It's like, oh, my head went vacant, and there were so many, critical jokes I could have made.
Honestly,
Like,
I've had this recently where...
what else is new, that kind of shit.
Hang on,
easy.
hang on. Stop.
But it just takes too
Stop. Your audio's cutting out.
Hang on. I know what to do. There's a bam.
Oh, the stream buffered for a minute there. That was strange. Well, isn't
But
this
now.
just fantastic? That's much better. We dropped
A
140. Oh no, that's not. No. What the hell's going on?
No?
Okay, it was and then it wasn't. We'll carry on anyway.
Discord. Is Discord just garbage?
It is apparently, because you now sound like you're talking through a sock.
Weird.
Yeah, it's having a moment apparently. Don't worry about it. Maybe it's just on my end with my headphones. You never know. You mentioned...
well, we'll find out.
Yeah, you'll know for certain when I tell you I can't put this on Spotify. Thank you to 169 followers, by the way. I mentioned the vacant thing. I was in VC on Discord last night, and I mentioned that there's a guy who walks his dogs locally. Loads of people walk their dogs, and I always say hello. The dogs are nice. I get on well with these people. One old guy, he has two dogs. I like him. I like his dogs. They're lovely. I walked back from work on Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember which, and it was hammering it down, but my coat was at home. He saw me and gave me a lift home. I've known this guy for about 2 to 3 years. I couldn't tell you what his name is, because he's told me, and I've forgotten. I'm really bad with names. To the point where I would mix up my old housemates' names, and we're talking 2 guys and 1 girl, and I'd still get them all wrong. Or mix them up.
Wow, you're the best.
It's a very interesting thing to forget. I don't forget much else. Names, though, never going to remember. Speaks volumes, really, doesn't it?
Sometimes I have the worst time because there will actually be people whose faces. I may never have met this person ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I look at their face and they go, those kind of remind me of somebody I once probably saw.
Yeah.
Do I know you? And it's like, no, I don't know them. Why am I even speaking to this random person? I can't help it. My brain just said it's a possibility.
I'm really confused. First of all, hope you've been well this week. Second,
Yeah, I'm good.
we were talking for 10 minutes before we started, and I didn't get a single issue. I'm very confused.
Is this still blowing your mind?
It still sounds like you're talking through an old audio, analog speaker.
Weird.
Yeah, you know what? I'll see what I can do in post.
Oh, okay.
So what's Trups been up to this week?
Trups has been going to work. I'm not doing a whole lot there. Just kind of coasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes work is just kind of boring. Man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the politics of the MMO that I'm playing are constantly entertaining, and I actually started writing a script to do kind of like one of my political videos, but I'm doing it on the people involved in this dying MMO.
Which MMO is it?
Arcade.
Okay. Still popular, huh?
No, no, it's not. That's the problem.
Fantastic.
Like the fact that I can actually talk about random people in it means that I can pick out individuals who have roles that have just been there, right? Like as opposed to an MMO where people are everyone can do a thing, right? The fact that you have like one or two people who have constantly been in a leadership role for an entire faction over years, that's what it means.
Oh, okay. Last time I was on an MMO that was dying, it was Guild Wars. There was virtually no one anywhere. It was great.
The first one or the second one?
First one, because they'd all moved on. They'd all gone to the second one. I went back to the first one just to, reminisce a little.
See?
Just a bit of reminiscing. Good old days.
Yeah,
It was nice.
that's good.
It was the
But
one.
yeah, no,
it was that one MMO I played before WoW, when I was at uni, and it was one I could play without having to worry too much about raids, because it was the same. Only you had like 4 or 5 raids really on it, and they weren't really raids. They were just final boss fights, and that was all right.
Yeah. So in terms of things that are happening, I feel like for us, we've got a lot more happening on the US side than the UK side. That's kind of been a theme we've had going on. I don't know necessarily if that's because there's actually nothing going on in the UK.
There are a few things. I mean, there's
I know one thing in particular because US media talked about it was that Harry and William are talking because of the statue for Diana.
No.
Did that not work out?
It was about an hour ago. There was an article circulating that Harry's car was already the one that brought him from the airport to Frogmore, or wherever it was he stayed, is already at the airport a day later. So I don't think he stayed long. Sadly not. I don't really take issue with it. Harry's had chances. I've already flayed him for his lies in recent videos because he lied during the Oprah thing. I'm sorry. Get wrecked, little bitch. It's a bit irritating that they can't get along, but there was always going to be that issue, really, because William was always destined for something more than what Harry was.
Yeah, totally. I mean, can you imagine living a life knowing that you'll never reach the same status as your brother?
Well, he could, but he wouldn't want to.
Right.
Based on how badly he handles the attention now.
Is fratricide, I think, is the only way to do it.
Well, there's that, but based on what we know, Harry can't handle the limelight anyway. So to be king would kill him. Mm-hmm. He'd probably abdicate, to be honest.
See, number one has it right. He needs to get his balls back, but Megan still has it in her handbag. Yeah, you're right.
It's an option to explore.
I mean, the man has gone living 2 different entire lives. I mean, he was a man of action, a bachelor, and then he got married, and now he's a schmuck.
Yeah. Over here, the main things that have been happening concern Germany and England, and a by-election that if Labour lost, Keir Starmer would have to leave. Along with the chief medical advisor person, Chris Whitty, being, air quotes, assaulted by a group of men in a London park. But that's not what happened at all. The video shows that that's not what happened. And, so I've got those 3, essentially. I mean, I could start by talking about the EU. It took AstraZeneca, one of the vaccine creators, to court because they wanted 120 million doses by the end of June. I mean, considering the size of the EU in the first place, that's not really much. Okay? But they wanted that because they wanted preferential treatment over the United Kingdom. Because the UK was smart and we got loads of deals first. They took this to a Belgian court, and the court said that that actually AstraZeneca can deliver fewer vaccines than what Brussels had demanded, and they've reduced it from 120 million by the end of June to 80 million by September 27th, which is considered another bloody nose for Ursula von der Leyen, where the EU they've blamed us, the United Kingdom, for the shortfall, and then at the same time, they were also the people who, let's say, they tore out the confidence many had in AstraZeneca with claims of it not being safe. Now for them to go to a courtroom and say, but we want 40 million more, please.
More, please.
Yeah, right. It's hilarious. This is considered a big loss this week for the EU. But there's a second one. And it technically is the second loss for Germany this week because England beat them 2-0 in the European Championship. That was quite nice. I'm not a big England or football supporter these days, but last time I saw that England played Germany, it was in 1996, and we lost on penalties. Oddly enough, I think it was because of the very guy who now manages England we lost on penalties. It's either him or Stuart Pearson. I can't remember. I think they both missed. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. But if you want to see some amazing football, watch Euro 96, England v Scotland. Gazza's goal is amazing. His celebration's even better. Pisshead just... Yeah, no, it's hilarious. The other loss, though, for Germany this week is that during the week, Angela Merkel had said that Brits will not be able to travel quarantine-free to Germany. In fact, there's been long considered an idea that even if they are double vaccinated or double jabbed, go back on that, double vaccinated, there would be a chance that they would instead just be turned back or forced to stay in quarantine and then be shot out of the country. But after meeting the Queen, after talking to Boris, Angela Merkel's already backed down and said that those who have been double jabbed will be able to travel quarantine-free to Germany. Which does imply something, doesn't it? It implies that people who are jabbed are going to be treated differently to those who are not. Well,
we started talking about this last week, didn't we?
We did.
We were creating a second class of citizen.
We did, and Tony Blair said it. He believes that it's not. He believes it not to be discriminatory. I disagree. It's a dangerous path to go down. It really is. And you can say, "Oh,
it's literally nothing but discriminatory." Yeah. That is the method by which you are discriminating.
Yes, I 100% agree. And I take great issue with the idea of doing that. I mean, I'm not able to travel anyway. I still don't have a bloody passport. But it's still one of those things where you're treating people different, and that's not acceptable. And I had heard about someone had met Living the Dream in the chat on YouTube. Met MPs asking for pet COVID jabbies. Oddly enough, people have been talking about the rise in canine, feline cases and spreading and all that. And I'm just sat here thinking, as long as we don't start a great thing. Yeah.
Wasn't that a conspiracy that started that was, why a bunch of Chinese people were killing their pets?
They don't need an excuse to kill their pets. They've got Yulin.
Ooh.
Huh. People can say, I saw Elon Musk tweeted something about their amazing economy, and everyone pounced on him and said, what about the Uyghurs? What about Hong Kong? What about their basic human rights? And my thought was, no one ever talks about that at the top of the political echelon. How about we talk about the animal rights abuses, because they actually have been proven to be true. Not saying the others aren't
really weird, actually, about China, though. China actually was trying to pass a law that put down the dog meat market, but Korea isn't.
Doesn't surprise me. I do want to clarify, by the way, it's not that the others can't be proven, it's that we don't have as much evidence to prove it as we do for the animal abuses.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's not the thing they're trying to hide.
The Yulin thing is the biggest, in your face. I actually get really angry when I see that. I can't know. But yes, so what's going to happen is people who are given vaccines originally would have been refused entry at the EU border crossings. But the list. Greece, Spain, Austria, the Netherlands, Estonia, Germany, Slovenia, Iceland, Switzerland, and Ireland accept the jab, and that the issue is no longer a problem. Along with Merkel saying between her gritted teeth as she's about to leave office, yes, she's actually leaving, by the way.
Oh my God, finally.
She congratulated the England football team for winning. Yeah, we're facing Ukraine next. I wish it was just Crimea, it would be a lot easier. But I have no
Sorry.
idea what you're saying. You cut right out.
Oh, yep. That's.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna close Discord and then I'm gonna come back in.
Hmm.
Give
You
me a
know
sec.
what? I'm just gonna disconnect myself.
Okay. This will be fun. By the way, Trups is now disconnected. Baba booey, baba booey, baba booey. I'll open Discord now. That'll be fun. It'd be nice to, have it work, because it'd be nice to, well, at least use some of this stream for Spotify. Oh, and if you're not already, please consider following us there. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. You can enjoy all of our professional ism.
Well, all but one. Maybe two at this
Yeah.
point. It's still doing it.
Is it? Well, fuck it.
I think this one might not. This might not go on.
Live?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go on Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. My mic is
No, it's not your fault
fine.
because we were fine before we were fine before we started. We know
Weird.
this. And I'm doing a speed test. My internet is actually really good tonight, so I'm really confused how it is that when we started it goes funky.
funky fresh.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Should I move on to something that was quite important in the UK as well this week then?
Well, one thing I wanted to mention because you were talking about travel bans.
Yeah.
Did you know that California recently just added non-essential travel to Florida as of like earlier this week?
You don't suppose that's because of how Florida's just loving life right now?
Okay, so not on its face, no. Based on what they had said, it was because that state has passed laws that discriminate against members of the LGBTQ community.
Oh, the governor. He passed the thing, didn't he?
Yes, the Democratic Attorney General Rob Bonta added Florida, Arkansas, Montana, and North Dakota and West Virginia to the list that
So
now
red
has
states.
17 states where state employee travel is forbidden except under limited circumstances.
So, are they all red states by chance?
A majority. Yeah. Yes,
I'd
they
like
are.
you to now imagine the surprise on my face.
Mm. You mean to tell me that we don't have a division in our country that is actually literally splitting the country into
It would
different
be
pieces?
very amusing to have and I mean, I doubt it will happen in our lifetimes, to be honest, a solely Democrat, all those states, they're one country. And then the other red states are all one country. Now, yes, you have the people who vote for third parties, but indulge me for a second. I'd be very intrigued to see how that worked out.
Well, it's really weird. When you look at the distribution of people in a lot of these blue states, you have, of course, you have Republicans in places like California, in New York, in New Jersey, right? But it's because of the population density of some of the cities that are usually very, very Democrat.
Oh, you mean like
I want to,
Chicago?
Yes, and Atlanta, for instance, for this past election. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment what would happen if we took all of Democrats, all of the cities. Let's just say we took all the cities, right? We put them somewhere else. How long do you think it would go before they would beg to come back?
Well, I guess it depends, because London in UK, it does vote more. I mean, it was slightly close. It was very close this time. Boris, certainly, when he was mayor, it was very different times. It does swing, but it's considered quite a liberally democratic city. But it relies heavily on the finance sector, which is one of the biggest in the world. If any of your cities can operate like that, then I think they could survive, but they'd have to change their tax systems, because that wouldn't work so well if you're
That, and they couldn't use a lot of their environmental policies because I mean we'll take away the actual fact that you cannot just completely displace a city,
of course.
But let's just say you were able to enact a whole bunch of those democratic policies across multiple states
Yeah.
without pushback.
Mm-hmm.
You would end up basically running out any kind of possibility that you could sustain yourself.
Yes.
So, I don't think people a lot of the time think of what it means really to get rid of all the red areas of a state. I know people talk about it all the time, usually uneducated or just.
Oh, it's always a
I
case
don't
of
want to
we
say
must
stupid,
get
but
rid of get rid of the Republicans. I've seen that. I mean, I see it with some saying about Democrats as well. Get rid of them because they're all just libtards. Get rid of the red because they're all Bible bashing racists. It's always that extremist mentality instead of just like, there are more center leaning, right?
Oh yeah, but like you can't tell them that. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that we would like to say, we can't. And the things that we should be saying usually fall on deaf ears.
That is unfortunate. It really is.
And basically, it's because a lot of people literally don't see out of their. I hate using the terms that I hear all the time, but like seeing out of your own bubble.
Well, it's a
If you
lens,
don't
isn't it?
know,
You're set in your
yeah,
ways, and I don't care for being set in ways. It's why I don't align with a party in my country, because again, about the majority of the policies they support, I can support some of them, but in reality, I like to. And I learnt this from another creator who's not really involved in content creation anymore, and she and I were talking about this, and it convinced me to not really want to be involved in a political side. I'd rather address the issue and and move on to the next issue, not take a side in it, because that's where the issue. I think real people are just so blinded and jaded and set in their ways, and it's bred from a young age. I don't see the point. It doesn't accomplish anything politically. It just makes you look like you're ill-informed, unable to see the bigger picture.
That's, I think, really what it boils down to. It's uninformed because a lot of people in the cities really don't see what else exists.
Aren't there most people that end up moving into the suburbs in the country, and then they're like, oh, I like this more than I like the city?
Well, you notice that a lot of people don't retire to cities, right?
Obviously, it's
and
too expensive.
They also say, well, yes, but they also say that one gets more conservative as they get older.
I will admit, I lived in Norwich, which is a city in the UK. It's a small city, but it's a city. When I lived there, it was loud. It was very, very loud, and I miss it. But I don't think. I mean, I'm going to go visit my mate there sometimes, but I have no reason to live. I wanted to live there when I first came back here in 2012, but after like 2016, I decided no, I don't actually want to, because there's no one there anymore beyond one friend. And that's not enough of a reason for me to leave everything down here, even though I don't really have too much. It's not a good enough reason to just walk away and go back to something where I don't really fit in anyway. And it is loud. I get headaches enough as it is, and there's always buses and people. And no, thank you. It's big enough to have two shopping centres or malls. I don't need that in my life.
I feel that though. That's why I don't live in a metro area.
I'm okay with my pokey little log cabin at the back of my garden. Quite content with that. And a fishing rod. Okay, two fishing rods.
You're tired already with that kind of attitude.
I just want a really long pipe and some weed from the Shire.
Yes. Very.
Bilbo. You bring the salted pork, I'll bring the pipe weed.
Oh God! Did you see? Oh, this is.
I talked about it in Twat today. Your tweet.
Did you?
The Polygon thing, yeah.
I cannot wait to watch it.
Right, I saw that, and my first thought was, but literally in the article, the only person who's bothered is the person that wrote it.
I have been more excited to watch this unfold than. By the way, for the chat, it's the Tolkien diversity fucking conference.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
No,
I was talking about the Boromir Aragorn kiss bit.
No. Okay, so there's a Tolkien conference that's going to be happening in the next couple of days, and
Oh.
they have a whole bunch of like conferences and stuff, and basically in it there are a whole bunch of segments that are talking about the need to talk about diversity in in the Tolkien universe, and everyone who I have seen talk about it is just like, I can't wait to watch this. I
Oh.
cannot wait to see what the
When
fuck
is
they
this?
come up with.
When is this?
The fourth, I think.
All
Hang
right.
on.
So if we
Tolkien conference.
is that on Sunday?
I think so. No, the yeah.
You if you can find out the time, you and I need to watch this
Okay.
because
Yeah, I'll see if I pull it up.
honestly, that's the Aragorn kiss thing. I saw you tweet out. I saw that and I was like, I read the article and I was my first thought
Yeah,
was
that was
my first thought
dumb.
was first of all I thought that was entirely a redemption for Boromir anyway. I must have misunderstood something here. Finally accepting Aragorn as his king, you know.
Well, that plus like there was so much more of like the tender moment of like accepting him as family, as kin,
Yeah.
because the thing was Boromir doesn't accept that even Aragorn is Gondor.
Yes, so that actually, if for those in the audience haven't ever seen this, the extended version adds so much more context, and it's so much better to explain just how bitter
See,
Boromir
if you read
is.
the book,
The book
if you
too.
read the book,
I
the
think
council, the creation of the Fellowship of the Ring is
Yeah.
a tense fucking moment. There is so much stuff that wasn't in the movie that people are just going back and forth and hurling
that's
insults.
that's
It's awful.
why I found it quite fascinating because obviously if you don't base it on the book and you've only got the movie to go on, then this is it really. That's all you've got. Then they're basing the entire article around a moment from a movie and not additional context. And in the article, the guy even admits he's the only one pretty much bothered by this. That no one was bothered.
Yeah, yeah, he was shocked that no one was bothered by the intimacy that these two men shared. The fact that Aragorn kissed his dead fallen
Do you remember that meme of it was on, I think it was Vine. It was some guy. Every time he went up to a guy and the guy acted a little bit camp, in his head, this and then N-word, gay. Yeah? You remember that?
Yeah.
Right. Well, at no point when I saw the movie when I was like 15, 16, whatever, mid-teens, did I ever think that in my head because I saw that kiss. I thought, redemption. That's the first word that came to my head.
Hey, look, man, it ain't gay to kiss the homies goodnight.
Ain't homie to kiss a badass. Guy deflects a proper knife.
Yeah, and took 3 arrows to the chest.
Right.
Anyway,
Oh, let's carry on.
off topic.
Shall I go to one last thing with the United? I mean, I could cover the Chris
Sure.
Whitty thing. I'm not. I'm still going to talk about the by-election at Batley and Spen. This seat was contested.
You make up half these words.
You're going to love the name of the winner. Her name is Kim Leadbeater.
Who lets you name things?
It's
Who
probably
lets you people name things?
Leadbeater because it's spelled Lead. I'm sorry, but lead is spelled the same way, and Leadbeater is a lot funnier. Kim Leadbeater is the sister of Joe Cox. Joe Cox was murdered in Batley and Spen in 2016.
This is why you're not allowed to fucking name things.
Well, she won. Kim Leadbeater won this West Yorkshire constituency, with a vote margin of 323 votes. And this is in a victory sort of speech. Keir Starmer said this was a victory for hope over division and decency over hatred, and just the start for Labour. You won by 323 votes, and that's what you took from this? George Galloway competed in this area.
A win's a win.
Right? Yeah, no, I fully. It's a dub for him because he's been losing a lot. He's been losing a lot recently, and if he had lost this, I do think he would have been pushed towards the door a bit more. So there are arguments that this is a very toxic campaign. Conservatives say that they ran a positive campaign and they wanted to reduce a long-standing Labour majority, and the majority, well, it's Yeah, it's quite close because so to give it context, Kim Leadbeater took the seat with 13,296 votes. The Conservative candidate, Ryan Stevenson, got 12,973. Okay, George Galloway, the Respect MP, standing for the Workers' Party of Britain Party, came third with 8,264. George Galloway, if you don't know who he is, he was on Celebrity Big Brother, and he mimed with robot android movements, a dog running away or something, and it was hilarious. Or him being fed imaginary milk by someone like he was a cat. Not a joke. But he was an MP, and he also, at some point, he was a bit close to Saddam. And your guys brought him in for a committee meeting, hearing, inquiry thing. One of those where he sat at a table surrounded by people.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, over oil barrels, and yeah, he got into a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
Imagine why.
Yes, the oil, yes.
Yes,
George,
the oil.
So George actually said rather interestingly, he said to Owen Jones that if he said Labour would finish third, and obviously it's the other way round. He also said that if they didn't come third, he'd eat his fedora. He was wearing a hat. He was literally wearing. He said, "I'll eat this hat," and everyone's all like, "Do you want some salt and pepper with that?" And he's already said he's going to take this result to court. Why? You're like you're 4 to 5,000 votes short of of second and third. You're not going to be able to turn this one around, I'm afraid. Leadbeater is now an MP for the seat her sister held. And
hey man, look, I don't know how you guys do it, but that kind of talk in America sounds like you are radicalized to the right. How dare you call into question, however small a margin, a loss of an election. Our elections are completely and utterly impossible to affect or change. Just ask the Russians.
Can I quickly try something with you for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do,
Yeah?
I'm going to disconnect my headphones and see if you sound any better through my speakers for a minute, because I'm genuinely curious now to see if you sound any different.
Okay.
Speakers is the output one, isn't it? Yeah. Speak.
I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking.
Huh. Keep talking.
No? Do I sound like I'm from in the middle of sock a bucket, if you will?
Well, I've worked out the problem.
Uh-huh.
My USB cable's fucked.
Ah, well, time for a new set of headphones.
No, it's the USB cable. It's not the headphones.
Oh, cool.
It's all good. I will order a new USB cable. All right.
Easy. That's
yeah, so for those in the chat who are wondering, throughout the entire stream, even though before there was no issue, before I went live, Trups, when we went live, started fading in and out and sounded like he was going through sounded like he was speaking through an analog speaker. Like an old timey-wimey speaker, not... it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Like 1940s radio.
Yeah.
1920s radio.
Yeah. So, what happens now is that it's unlikely that there'll be a challenge from Angela Rayner over Keir Starmer's now seat. He should be safe. He believes that this now is the upswing for Labour. I love how if it's even one vote your way, it's the other way or your favour. It's like, oh, you're everything's turning, or everything's going well for us now. We've got this, everyone. All right. Well, you haven't, but you keep digging that hole, fam. You just keep.
That delusional.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. I did have a question for you. So this one's an interesting one. It's actually it's political and it's not.
Okay.
U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson has received a 1-month ban and will miss the Tokyo Olympics after testing positive for marijuana. Your thoughts?
So I don't know the specifics that go through the Olympic drug testing requirements. But if I had to assume, it is a test against all drugs, and if it comes up anything but
Well, it's
clean,
USADA, so it is.
yeah. Oh, I'm just trying to lay the groundwork. If it comes up anything but clean, then you are not allowed to perform.
Yeah, USADA.
Regardless of the fact that I would definitely not call marijuana a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah. So that's where I usually sit. When it comes to USADA, the US Anti-Doping Agency, they're very thorough. They went after Armstrong for so many years, then to finally get him, which was a huge deal. The context for this is that she used it as a way of coping after the death of her mother, which I get. I personally chose Doritos, chocolate, and Monster because I found them to be far more delicious, and I don't care for smoking or inhalation of things. I'd rather devour substance rather than
inhale it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I have enough issues with bottles of water where it keeps going down the wrong tube at this moment in time. I think I'm failing.
Yo, same. I thought I was gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say.
I thought I was malfunctioning, to be fair. It happened on the treadmill earlier. I was literally on there. I took a swig and I was like, I need to swallow this water down, and then I need to start coughing, which is going to make people look at me. I'm going to look like a right twat. So I got off the treadmill at 14 minutes. I went downstairs into the bathroom and I went, cough, 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 cough.
Isn't it terrifying to cough in public spaces right now?
It is, and it's okay because I know the person who works behind the counter. I sort of had signalled that water down the wrong pipe, so I was going to go cough for a minute. Come back upstairs with very red eyes. Oh, you've been crying? Yes, I was crying.
Yeah, that's it. That's what was wrong. Yep. Nothing else.
Yeah, but so back to the drug thing, because I get the point of testing for all drugs, but we all know what are performance-enhancing drugs. I'll be honest, something that relaxes you. There is an argument there. There is an argument that if you're relaxed, you won't be as she's a 100-meter sprinter, by the way. So at the starting blocks, she might, not be as twitchy. Let's go with that, because there's a split time for when the gun goes to when you're meant to be up on your feet. Yeah. Yeah. And people get caught out with that, and if you're more relaxed, it's possible you might be less jumpy, which causes and you only get 2 false starts and you're disqualified. So. It was just something I noticed as a side article to the Batley and Spend thing. I just saw it and thought, I'll ask Trups.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't like the fact that it's that way, but I can't fault them for it because their system has been in place for quite some time at this point, and everybody knows, every athlete knows what is expected of them. The situation being that as it may for you, I get it. Like, you losing your parent, like, that is a traumatic experience that you never get over in life. I get it. You cope however you want or however you need.
I just found a brand new USB cable.
There are, unfortunately, repercussions if you do it, and there's really nothing else that can be said on the matter. It's just
that's fine.
It just be like that sometimes.
So before we move on to into your topics, because that's the title of the stream, I've just found a brand new USB cable, so I'm going to quickly unplug so no one will be able to hear you for a second. Okay, don't. Right, yeah, no, they can't hear you now. I'm just going to unplug it and plug this new one in. Give it a minute to catch up, and fingers crossed, it's actually brand new. Speak.
Balls.
Woohoo! Who doesn't like balls?
Best mic check.
Who doesn't? Well, it's better than saying sausages.
Is it?
Oh my god, the audio is so much better.
Okay. Sick. Anyway.
So do you want to start with Trump or do you want to start with Cosby?
Do you want Trump or Cosby?
Oh, I asked you. You can pick.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's talk Cosby first because I have less... It's more open-ended. So earlier this week, Bill Cosby, after serving about 2 years of his sentence, was released because of essentially a procedural error in the U.S.
Yeah.
Criminal system that allowed him to not only get off of the charges, like
Mm-hmm.
get out from serving those charges, but also has now invoked double jeopardy. So now he cannot be tried for these same crimes ever again.
So I want to add additional context. He served over
Please.
2 years of a 10-year sentence, and he had explicitly said when he was being sent down, at no point will he seek any form of rehabilitation because he believes himself innocent. Therefore, it was likely he would have had to serve, or possibly die in prison, the entire 10-year sentence.
Procedural error, violation of constitutional rights, almost the same thing. Yes, it is, because those prosecutors had to make a decision. And for them, taking in a old lawsuit and the testimony underneath that lawsuit that he was not ever going to be charged under was a decision that they made. And the procedural error that comes out of it was that a judge allowed it.
Yeah.
Because technically, unless somebody really delved into it, they weren't going to find that or rule that way unless you got all of the context, which in the case of most, court cases, they're not going to tell you what all of the context is that might undermine their case.
So this was the first case that led to a conviction within the Me Too era, as it's often been touted. Understandably, this is going to cause a big backlash because people think he's guilty. I had this thought in my head earlier today when I was thinking about this. Dry throat, sorry. Oh, God.
You did it again, folks.
Fantastic. 1 second. Down the right tube. Great. So the thought that came across my head was, let's hypothetically say, because we still won't know everything just yet, that he is 100% innocent. Yeah, let's just say that. When he does pass, he will be regarded often like Jackson, where people still make kiddie fiddling jokes, even though he was never convicted of anything. And I think that is I mean, I made a joke here when Jackson died, but to be honest, I never thought of him as he doesn't have the coof. No one panic. Please don't panic. It just it was a crass joke. It's just what you do.
I guess that's the real thing. It's the matter of how many people actually believe it to be true.
Yes.
Because the problem is that a court does not find you innocent. The court finds you not guilty.
Yeah.
Or guilty. Innocence is assumed until proven guilty. This is the problem, and this is why I disagreed with Oki in procedural error, because we assume that he is innocent under the court of law. However, based on all the evidence that was brought forward, legal or not, he's most likely guilty, just based on the information that was presented in court. It appears as if he would be guilty. Now, a court cannot rule that.
No.
The court of public opinion can rule that.
Well, they do that. They
do. Of course they did.
The journalists were doing it with Jackson as well. They were all running it as if presumed. And it's because, and while I can fully respect the grind and the grift, I guess, in what they were doing, they were clickbaiting by implying or inferring, and that
Absolutely.
is, it's disingenuous because then it sows the seeds of doubt. You should just let the fact speak for itself. Obviously, when you want people to read what you've got, it's completely fucked how that is allowed to. I mean, I know why it's allowed, but it does not help them post whatever's happened, and especially in the case of, I mean, to be fair, Cosby's unlikely to work again. The guy's legally blind. Even if he was,
he did actually announce that he wanted to go on a comedy tour.
That's fine. I don't know if that would work, but that's, it's up to him, really, isn't it? It's his thing, but it's always going to be difficult for him to ever be thought of as America's dad again because of how he's been dragged, and I think that causes a lot of issues. And that's why I thought this was a fascinating one, personally, because the whole thing was fucked from the start. But that wasn't what any one of us over here on my side of the world got to see. All we saw was a really old man, being dragged to court with a Zimmer frame. That's all we ever saw, really. Or walking stick, or what, wheelchair, I don't know.
That was really all I cared about, because Bill Cosby is literally some close to 3 to 4 times my age, right? I could not care less. Like, maybe that is my own bias coming through. I could not give a shit about what happens to Bill Cosby.
I am interested.
However, the principle of it deserves talking about, because we just had Derek Chauvin sentenced.
Yeah.
Based on, we're going to call it emotional evidence, right? And that's a lot of what Bill Cosby's evidence was. But one of them is touted in the media as wrong, as a miscarriage of justice, that this person is now released. And the other one is absolute justice, because now he's been sentenced for 22 and a half years. So then the question becomes, how do we, as Americans, proceed in a system that allows this to exist?
Mm-hmm.
And I am not enough of a legal expert to tell you. There are plenty of other people who have, put their 2 cents in. But I think that's more the interesting question outside of, Bill Cosby's specific case. Because Bill Cosby was the beginning of the Me Too era, which ended up changing how Title IX and colleges worked, as well as the Harvey Weinstein case, and the rise of the Me Too movement with Rose McGowan and all of these people, right? The more that we have to now discuss the presence of emotional evidence, as either a valid or invalid tactic in a courtroom, this will eventually set precedent. It's going to be interesting how it goes forward, because now we're looking at it. This happened too close together, the Chauvin and Cosby case, for people not to start asking questions about their similarities. I don't know how it works in the UK, though. I don't know if you would have the similar problem. I know you have miscarriages of justice all the time, but
we do.
I don't
have,
know if your system has this problem.
The whole double, we do have issues. Double jeopardy is a bit of an issue. So the murders of Stephen Lawrence, they couldn't get them for years. They really couldn't. It was such a difficult one to nail them on. But then that doesn't really apply here either, because now more and more is coming out, more info is coming out on the Cosby case. Well, yeah, Oki, you raise Cosby case started well before the Me Too era. You're right. But it was reported as the first conviction in the Me Too era, not because of the Me Too era. I did say that, but thank you for allowing me the opportunity to correct it, or just reiterate. As far as the UK goes, it's not as much of an issue here, but what you raised so far anyway. But there are issues. There always will be issues. Emotional evidence will never be a thing here. They've tried it before, and it's always backfired. You can't use that kind of
because you know there are several places in the UK where emotional evidence is the basis for some laws. Count Dankula, for instance.
Oh, that's Scotland Sheriff Court. That's vastly different. They have their own court system. They're a Mickey Mouse joke.
Is Scotland independent now?
No. They have devolved administration. They have certain powers, one of which involves their own court procedures. Their courts are bound to our Supreme Court, yes, but they're not bound to the other courts.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you were to push it high enough, appeal Dankula's conviction
he can
high
go to the
enough,
European.
you should eventually get to a point where he would be found not guilty. But there are basis of laws that have caused this to be impossible.
That is true. In the case of Dankula, the next step that I remember him saying he was going was the European Court of Human Rights. The European Court is the next and highest one he can go to. That's where it stops. It's not an entity of the EU, by the way, so it's quite safe for him to do that. And they are completely neutral.
Yeah, I saw his explanation of like how he had to proceed with the court cases.
Yeah, and he should. He absolutely should, because that was one of the very few cases that it's not in Scotland though. A lot of I say few cases. I know someone's going to do this because they're a dick. They're going to mention all the other cases that happened in Scotland. There are a few that have happened in England. A girl who sung rap songs or played a rap song and spoke words from it and got done for racism. It eventually got overturned because, well, obviously that was the wrong result.
Tommy Robinson existing.
Tommy existing's just bad, isn't it? I'm being sarcastic. People.
UK government, yeah, it is.
I thought it was hilarious. Didn't he emigrate to another country? I don't know.
No idea.
I think he did. I don't know.
It's been a while. It's been kind of hard to follow him.
Yeah, I don't pay much attention.
Well, I'm saying because they censored the fuck out of him.
That too. Perhaps not mentioning him here would be great. Just for the sake of censoring
did you
us.
expect this to be monetized with Trump in the title?
Oh no, this was automatically demonetized when I put Cosby and Trump in the thumbnail. But it's guaranteed to get throttled even more when we talk about Tommy as well. We have to be a little bit careful, remember? Just the final thing on the Cosby thing. More and more is going to come out, and there are many people arguing over this on Twitter. I don't care about the arguments, but there are some valid points raised about the procedural aspect of this. Because much like with Tommy, it was cut when he got done, sentenced within a day. That was a huge cock up. And it's the same here with Cosby. They reneged on an agreement. They used out of context information that was used elsewhere. What was that thing? The fifth. What was it? Self-incrimination. Yeah.
The Fifth Amendment, the right against self-incrimination.
Yes. So that was that's what many people have talked about, and they're right to talk about it in this because this was fucked up because of how things were used. That's a damning statement of procedure, and many people then now say. I saw that there are a few aspects of criminal justice in the US were trending. One was rape when it came to police officers. This guaranteed the stream was demonetized in the US. I saw that. I didn't really get more context on it because I wasn't paying attention. To be honest, it's not really my area. But I did. It will start things because. Whether anyone likes it or not, regardless of the result. Well, no, not regardless. Because the result has been overturned, Cosby could do something. Because
totally.
He's just been sent down for he's just done 2 years for something that the court has now said, no, you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so...
In the UK, you can do that. You can
theoretically, yeah, you could sue.
Why not?
For, like... Because he didn't want to, and because this man is already like old as hell. I don't think he wants anything else except to just kind of like win this fight and kind of troll by existence. I don't know. That just seems to be where it goes in my head,
I
looking
think
at like.
I think he just wants a nice, quiet life, but he wants to be known as an innocent man. If he can prove his
I think
innocence,
so, yeah.
I think proving your innocence will. I mean, it will be spun, and if he is able to do that, it won't be reported on as much. Because again, no one cares about the innocence of people. They only care about the. Oh, jeez. They don't care for honesty. They don't care for nice things. They care for tragedy.
Right.
And we need to talk about Trump, by the way.
Yes. Okay. So Trump.
I should stop recording this. I
So,
don't know why I'm still doing that.
because you've already fucked it.
No, the audio is already fucked. Anyway, no, it's already gone back to bad, so it's definitely not my headphones anymore.
That's fine. So the Trump Organization CFO was indicted on tax fraud. So Alan Weisselberg apparently cheated tax authorities by conspiring to pay senior executives off the books by way of lucrative fringe benefits and other means. Okay, so basically, what this means. I'm sorry, there's just somebody fucking hammering outside.
I can't hear it.
My brain can hurts. But Weiselberg alone was accused of defrauding the federal government, state and city out of more than $900,000 in unpaid taxes and undeserved tax refunds. So they are going after him. Now, he has gone to initial hearing. He has paid his bail on the condition that he would give up his passport. Because reasons, I suppose. A flight risk, I would suppose. But this coincides very, very closely to a wave of support going towards Trump for having shown up at the border and having an interview with Texas Governor Greg Abbott regarding the border crisis, shining a spotlight on our Vice President Kamala Harris and the fact that she didn't, at the time, show up at the border. Now, once Trump announced that he was going to go to the border on an interview with Sean Hannity, Kamala Harris announced that she would then go to the border. Fun story about that. She did go, but she went to a border location hundreds of miles away from the place where it actually is an issue, which is the Rio Grande Valley.
So what's the why there then?
So why is the Rio Grande Valley?
No, why did she go there?
Okay, so she didn't go there. She went to El Paso, which is about 5 hours. It was about a 5-hour trip for Air Force Two, but it's slightly above the border. It is a border city, I suppose, but it's not the border. It's not literally the border where there are border control agents working. Like, the El Paso is way west, like the western tip of Texas, right?
Okay.
And the Rio Grande Valley is the furthest south tip of Texas. So it's about 800 miles different. So yeah, she went to a border town near New Mexico, is how well she did this. The problem exists at the tip of Texas, not in El Paso. But the reason why she did this and only spent about 13 minutes in front of the press was because she was getting hounded by Republican and conservative media saying that she wasn't doing the job that she was asked to do.
Okay.
Which is still remarkably true. So to tie that back into the tax thing, Yeah, a lot of people were looking at Trump as like, ah, yes, this is what it was like to have a president who actually cared and who actually did things like for the country
Not that
and
anyone
like
knows
went to
that.
the place. Well, people do know that because that was all that people were talking about. In fact, Facebook being what it is and Twitter being what it is, Facebook has actually taken a few more steps in the wrong direction by I don't know if you go on Facebook much, but they've recently introduced a new thing that will inform you if you may have been exposed to radicalized content.
Okay.
I imagine this is another way to as you so aptly put keep people from noticing it.
Hmm. That's
Um,
fantastic.
So the CFO thing, I think, is very much like when they were going after Roger Stone. Giuliani was like was like people were trying to get his law license suspended, and I think they did in the state of New York late last week. Um, so all these attacks on Trump allies, right? They're basically I think they're scared that if Trump drums up enough support that either he is a kingmaker of Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis, um,
DeSantis is a
or
good choice, though, isn't it?
DeSantis is a pretty good choice. He's I would say he's a little bit better of a choice than Greg Abbott.
I've not
In
heard of
my
Greg Abbott, to be
opinion.
honest. I've heard of DeSantis because we've spoken about him a couple times before.
hmm
Um,
Florida governor versus Texas governor. Yeah, I
yeah.
would say the Florida governor is a better choice in my opinion. Um, but that's just right now that I think that I could change my opinions later. Um, but I think that they're worried that there's enough support behind Republican causes right now that they are going to, um, they're really going to start seeing losses.
Hmm.
I think basically what all of this boils down to, the last like three things I just mentioned, are Democrats are actually scared.
You think so?
Um, I think they are.
What do you think they're
They're
scared of?
asking, well, they're asking a Supreme Court judge to step down so that they can appoint a new judge, because I think that they're looking at the situation that 2022 is going to take away their Senate tie and potentially their House majority.
I didn't think. Are there any Senate seats up then?
I think there are some, yeah.
Okay.
Senators sometimes will have like these very strange like they'll be off certain years and on
Well,
other
yeah, their term times are
years,
different, aren't they? They're not.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah, they're longer than
Unless
everyone
they
else.
resigned at any time, because then it throws off everything.
Yes, of course, of course. Does
Um,
make things a little more
it all sounds very
interesting.
complicated. It basically it's just a whole lot of news that ordinarily would be talked about in a good light if the media were honest, and turned or spun into a position that is just overwhelmingly negative PR, right?
Yeah.
So all the situation that you have with the Facebook radicalized warning, with the Trump CFO, with Giuliani, with Kamala Harris trying to offset it by going to the border. All of this basically screams to me that the Democrats are scared that they're going to lose a majority in 2022. So they're trying to hold together any kind of support that they can hold, anything that they can muster up.
This reminds
They
me of something. It's a stark contrast because I remember when Trump was elected, at no point was anyone thinking about him losing the House. We knew he was going to, but no one really thought about it or cared enough. Oh, I certainly never saw anything that would indicate he was afraid of losing the House. All I remember is the moment he did, then suddenly, miraculously, he's impeached.
Yeah.
which
It's very common for sitting presidents to lose the House in their first term.
yeah, I
It's
noticed.
very rare that they actually hold it. I think George Bush only held it and actually gained more because of the 9/11
9/11, yeah.
situation.
I mean, I think most people will agree that was to be expected. There was no
Of course.
Is it Kerry, John Kerry? He was
Mhm.
never going to beat. Was it him against
Yeah,
Bush?
it
Yeah,
was.
he was
I
never
think
going to
so.
beat. He was never going to beat Bush. Not because of after that he was never going to win. No.
No. After you don't win that after
Yeah.
that kind of a situation,
One
there's just
hundred
no way.
percent. Agreed.
Um, but one of the strangest things that Democrats are trying to pull right now. Do you remember when we talked about defund the police?
Well, that I've seen that trending everywhere recently.
Do you know why?
No, I didn't click on it.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki defended a claim that Republicans voted to, quote, defund the police.
Oh no.
Yeah, they are, the White House is literally trying to tell the American people that it is not the Democrats who wish to defund the police, 'tis the Republicans. Now, why, you might ask, why is that? Well, it's because crime is going crazy in this country, everywhere. Everywhere. Um, there are. There was a story in Annapolis where a mother had dropped off her son at the Naval Academy and was shot by several stray bullets from a random gunfight that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
What? What the fuck? This doesn't happen. This isn't supposed to happen like this. Like, the initial thought that would come to my mind is, where are the police? And then I remember what happened to the police.
What police?
Local councils voted to take away their funding. Resignations happened in record numbers. Police were literally protested against because they were cops. And it wasn't the Republicans. It was not the Republicans who were like, yes, we should defund the police because ACAB. No, no. Republicans don't say ACAB. No, it's fucked, man.
It's a bit messy, really, isn't it?
Oh, it's awful.
I'm not surprised it's being
And
pushed though, because any excuse to ostracize the other, make it seem like it's the other side that think this. That whole
well,
set in ways, dirty tactics, poisoning the
do you
well.
remember remember the comment though that I made like I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, where the audacity of these people to say these things and lie brazenly to my face. You know, obviously, like on the news, right, to my face. That this is not their plan. The balls the size of fucking elephants to be able to lie so badly, and then the cowardice of everyone else to agree with it. It's insane. I at this point I have no words because there's just such insanity.
It is insanity. I don't know what more to add to that. It is just that.
I don't know, but I long for the day that we can get a semblance of normalcy back.
July 19th,
Sometime.
apparently, for us.
Oh,
It's probably a
What's-
lie, though, to be honest.
what's July 19th for you guys?
The day when most of these restrictions are gone.
Mm.
But since the number of infection cases is over 20,000 now, I doubt it.
Oh yeah, well that Delta variant, LA reinstated a mask mandate.
Oh, the sooner that's abolished, the better. The masks need to go.
But there was one thing that I wanted to, well, the one last thing that I wanted to leave everybody with, and it was actually the thing that I put in the in the political recap channel that we have there. So for the Americans, happy July 4th weekend. It is America Day in 2 days on Sunday, where we all get together, we start unloading our guns into the air, fire off some rifles, we firing off some fireworks, putting some hot dogs and hamburgers on the barbecue.
Sounds delicious.
We celebrate America. No, we don't actually fire guns into the air. That's weird. And also dangerous.
Yeah.
But we do fire off other explosive things into the air. That's fireworks. But LA, you see, LA has made fireworks illegal.
Yeah.
So much so that 2 days ago, the police tried to detonate a stash of illegal fireworks. That police car exploded.
Woohoo!
And injured 17 people.
Woohoo! Yes.
They failed. They failed at the controlled explosion.
Speaks volumes.
It does. That was their job.
You have one bloody job to do. You're supposed to blow the bleeding doors off.
So I beg all of you Americans, please don't. Please don't.
Don't be LA.
Yeah, don't be LA. Please don't fire guns off. Please don't. Just don't fuck up. If you're gonna fire off fireworks, don't.
They originally claimed it self-detonated. Yes, they did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Amazing. I like
but
this.
That's all I've got.
I've got nothing else. We're all good. Do you want to promote anything, or are you dandy?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I will look into. Well, I'll talk to Traps after this anyway, and we'll see if the issue goes or not. We'll find out. This episode won't be on Spotify for obvious reasons. But we are grateful you are here. If you haven't already, please consider smashing the like. And I will try and remember to share it about. There were delays on my end that forced me to not be able to do my job early enough to be able to set the stream up early in advance. Yeah, no excuses really, but there are excuses. We shall be back next week next Friday unless Traps is away.
Should be here.
Woohoo! We will see you all there then. Thank you all very much for joining. Say good night, Traps.
Good night, Traps. Also, if you want to see that explosion, I just retweeted it.
We should put it in the Moisky Live Twitter as well. Nah, yeah. Good night.